Ladies and gentlemen, we're back with another investing video. And I kind of want to break this down. First of all, I was going to do a video, and I still am, about Fusion Strike and how I think it's still going to boom a lot more. But I also have to say this Destin Rivals Mewtwo, I'm seeing now people are saying it's worth $400. Avoid that card at all costs, and I want to explain why. For an extra $100 to $200, you could just buy a raw copy of Gengar and PSA 10. And this card's going to definitely do way better than the Mewtwo long term. Like I can fucking guarantee it will. So I would buy something like this over Destin Rivals. Because like this is getting older, it's getting harder to pull, and financially it makes zero sense to open up a case of Fusion Strike for $3,500 to chase a card that's worth $600 raw. And like this is like 1,200 in a 10. So like the chances of you opening this entire case, you might pull one, maybe two Gengars, maybe even zero. And probably zero, honestly, but you might pull one or two. The chances of them being a 10 are extremely unlikely. So like all these alt arts, you're going to see less and less of them pop up on the market just out of the blue, like from people that just open packs, because like everything is getting so expensive that it makes zero sense to open up any of this. And so you're going to see a lot less, and you're already starting to see it on the market that I've noticed. Like there's a lot less Gangars just popping up out of nowhere. Like when Fusion was $80 a booster box, yes, like there were tons of these that popped up. But now that it's like the 500s, pretty much going to be closer to that 1,000 range soon. You're just not going to see this stuff, and I think we're going, and like another good reason why I think Gengar is a good investment. First of all, it's like my favorite Pokemon out of the TCG, like art wise. Probably my favorite card in the hobby. And second off, like Phantom Forces has done incredible. So I think you might witness a dramatic change in the hobby. And I mean, I'm not saying that this is guaranteed, but like you might witness a dramatic change. And I mean, I feel like I'm kind of copying something Pokemon Joey said, but I sort of agree with this. Um, but I'm not really copying him, but he thinks Fusion Strike might pass Evolving Skies, and now I don't think it will pass it, but I think it will gain on it. Of like it'll definitely catch up on it, and maybe long term it might pass it. I highly doubt it. Like it won't pass it maybe, but if it does, it's probably good to have a PSA 10 Gengar in case it does, because it's just super expensive to chase it. And it was $1,800. Now it's $1,250. So you're getting a pretty good deal on a PSA 10. Like it's definitely not a bad deal. And like any other alt arts that you might like to like get, like. But I also want to compare, like how just incredible the art is compared to like super modern. So like as much as I do like modern, like the Metagross, and like I said, I do love the Drowsy. And we'll go to like more vintage stuff. Like these arts are cool, but they just don't hit like old arts do. Like I don't know, like I love them and stuff, but that's still a beautiful card. But either way, they just don't hit like old arts do. So I mean, I would probably still say just go with putting your money in sealed, because it will do better long term. But some of these PSA 10 old arts definitely good pickups. At the current prices, because like they haven't went insane yet. And I mean, yeah, they've went up, but like this should be like a $2,000 card, and it's just not there yet. So I just think it's a really good pickup. I personally like the Gengar like more than I do even do the Moonbreon, but that's just me personally. I think people jock ride the Moonbreon a little too much, but that's just my honest opinion. But next in my video, I just want to say stay away from Destin Rivals, stay away from Journey Together. Just don't buy that crap. Like $300-$400 plus for a booster box when it first comes out is just absolutely stupidity, and risky behavior. And you don't really need to simp for it that bad. But I also want to make this video talking about calling out a gambler named Nicky Mays. A lot of you may have heard of him. And, I want to say the guy's a complete fraud. don't believe that you're going to get rich from gambling. I was watching an interview this guy did where, like they're like, well, yeah, if I bet 10 grand playing blackjack and win, and he's like, no, I would bet 250K. That way you win $250,000 if you win. And it's like, yeah, but if you lose, bro, you lose a fucking house. And I highly doubt any of you are putting 250K on a fucking blackjack table, you know, to win. So, like I said, definitely like, it's scary because this advice is dangerous. Like, I mean, younger people don't quite understand, but like, you can't just, like, let's say even if you get the 250K, like, you don't want to put that kind of money on a table and like lose it. Like, you take a hell of a gamble losing that kind of money. That, like, you're fucked. So the whole thought of just like doing one blackjack hand for $250,000 is probably the worst financial decision you could ever make, because most likely you'll lose, and you'll lose like a giant sum of money just in one clip. No one wants to do that, so just not a good move. Next, I want to talk about sets to open. So a lot of people ask, like, well, what is the best set to rip? Like Evolving Skies? Hell no. Fusion Strike? Hell no. Like I said, the pull rates are like next to impossible to pull a Gengar. Same with pulling any alt arts out of Evolving. That's why I grabbed a bunch of these cards in PSA 10s, because like I just feel like they're really just gonna be, they're just so difficult to pull. But no. So a lot of people would say Crown Zenith. Like a lot of jock riders say, well, Crown Zenith is the best set. Pull rates are the best. And I mean, they are really good. Don't get me wrong. And I would say they're the second best pull rates in Sword and Shield, and maybe in the hobby in general. Besides like a base set pack, but those are extremely expensive. But now a Crown Zenith ETB is 140. So we're actually going to look over at this hidden gem that most of you might not even recognize, and that is Champion's Path, or Champion's Ass. So this set right now, it went from like 85 to like 140 now, and it's been climbing a lot. And a lot of you may have took this set for granted, maybe didn't buy any, but I'm here to tell you it is definitely a really good pickup. As much as people talk shit on Champion's Path, it's really not a bad investment. Now, I'll explain why. So if you're going to rip packs, even at 140, someone will probably give you a deal for like 120 on one of these. You'll be able to find them if you look hard enough. So if you rip these, you get 10 packs. You actually get a Charizard promo, but the important part is, I talked to the gentleman I bought these from, and he has ripped a lot of Champion's Path ETBs himself, and he claims every 2 to 3 ETBs you pull one of the 2 Charizards. Now, in Crown Zenith, the best card's Giratina. It's only like a $150 card. So if you open up Champion's Path, it has the Rainbow Charizard and the other Charizard, and they're both over $300 each. So if you want to rip Pokemon, I really think Champion's Path right now is, for the prices, is the best hidden gem set to rip open and hope for a Charizard. And I think the 2 Charizards out of here, maybe even the Rainbow one, like I think both of them are going to climb decently in value soon. Because like back in the day, like Champion's Path Charizards were like over $2,000. Like, they were fucking expensive. So like, yeah, I just really think it's a good, like, this is probably your best bet at opening, but realize the odds are still stacked against you, but the pull rates are probably the best on Champion's Path. I want to start doing like videos on the history of Pokemon, and like the history of like certain sets, like because someone said in my comments, like, I didn't know Surgeon was ever $100. So I feel like would a lot of you guys enjoy that if I did like the history of like Evolving Skies, for example, like of it starting out at 100 a box, and then it going to 125, and then it going to 300, and then it going to 450, and then it going to like 625, and then it going to where it's at now. So like, if you guys want me to make a video on that, let me know, if that interests you. But I also want to know, like, what YouTubers do you guys watch? Who is your top 3 favorite YouTubers, and who is your that you like? Me personally, I like watching Boss Man Jack. Like, his shit's fucking hilarious. That dude, like, if you want to see how gambling really works, watch a Boss Man Jack video. Like, and it will prove to you that like gambling will fucking eventually rape your money. And I mean, to do it for entertainment, but don't do it as like a life betting thing where you're betting your life on winning or losing. You just don't want to do that in life. And I'll be the first to expose that shit. Like, gambling is not a way to get rich. Opening packs is not a way to get rich. Just don't do it if anyone doesn't already know better. But yeah, let me know who your guys' top 3 favorite YouTubers are, and then let me know your top 3 most hated YouTubers, like the villains you just don't like. I would probably have to go with my favorite YouTubers, man, are like probably myself, Bossman Jack, uh, and like, damn, that's a tough one. I don't know, like maybe like I'm just gonna say I'm gonna go with a safe one like Pokey Vault or something like that, even though he's like corny. I don't know. And then I'm gonna go with my top 3 most hated YouTubers. I'm going to go with Leon Hart as number 1. This one porn star chick, the name Jules, that is just like a really shitty YouTuber, porn star. And then number 3 is probably a tie between Unlisted Leaf and Shiny Vert. But let me know what you guys think. Who's your top 3 favorite and top 3 most hated YouTubers? Let me know in the comment sections. Anyway, what's that do you guys think is the best to rip, or do you just think they all suck for ripping? I personally think they all just suck for ripping, but that's just my opinion. Like, and a lot of you may like want to open up 151, and really the pull rates are pretty shit in it too. So, I mean, Champions Path is kind of like a sleeper set that a lot of people like don't realize that it has 2 Charizards in it compared to 151's just 1 Charizard. Like, you may like the art in 151 better, but like when you look at like the numbers and the art's incredible in Champions Path. I mean, yeah, Champions Path is one hell of a sleeper. Plus the ETBs just look fucking sick. I don't know why they have like such a nostalgia to me. Like I love that Charizard, man. The packs look epic. Like, I don't know. Champions Path is just a hell of a sleeper set in my opinion, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know who your favorite YouTubers are and your least favorite YouTubers are. And yeah, we're out. Enjoy this one, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. And have a great day, guys. We're out.